Good morning, thanks for joining me. I hope everybody's well and having a good week. Today we're going to talk about how to make friends over 50, as you will have seen from the title before you clicked on the video. I think as we get older, as we come into this mid-range of life, life in the middle type of thing, and head towards old age, I guess, although I definitely don't want to think about that. Don't feel like I'm getting there quite yet. But as we come into this later mid stage of life, that's what I like, later mid stage of life, I feel like our lives change, don't they? Perhaps empty nest syndrome is something that is affecting you. Perhaps you are looking at retiring or have retired. Perhaps you've lost your parents or a parent, and life just changes, doesn't it? The whole, you don't have your children to look after anymore so much. They've flown the nest and they're out there doing their own thing, and as difficult as that might be for us, I think we need to look on that as a job well done, don't we? And cherish the times that we do spend with our grown-up children. Losing a parent obviously is difficult. That's happened to me this year, and I think it naturally makes you think about your own mortality. And I think as well, if you have a life partner, a husband, wife, whatever, or long-term partner, when you lose a parent or both parents, you start to think about the very real fact, not even a possibility, the fact that one of you at some point is going to be left without the other one and living alone. And I think that is something we all need to think about. And you know, it's not a positive thought, is it? But it's a very real situation and something that is going to happen to all couples at some point. And I think if we can prepare for all those changes and deal with all those changes in some way, I think that having really good solid social connections and a good social life can really help us with dealing with some of the difficulties of life. It's well documented that strong social connections and friendships are really good for our emotional and mental well-being, particularly as we age, all the time, but particularly as we age. And I think as well, in this age of technology and screens and of course lockdown, when we weren't allowed to have in-person social connections, the majority of us, I think a lot of things have made us less likely to have real in-person social connections and friendships than we used to. Then of course there's other things, like for me, for example, I've had two good friends who I saw quite a lot of move away from the area over the last couple of years, and that's made my social life shrink a little bit. Although I keep in touch, it's not quite the same as sort of, shall we go for a coffee, shall we go for a day out shopping, and just being able to do it, you know. As well, I have lost social connections with people that I knew from the school gate. So I had a nice circle of mum friends at one time, and again there's been moving away, there's been changes, you don't have the same instant connection via your children anymore, and friendships drift, and that some of those have dropped off as well. And I found myself at the end of last year thinking about all of these things and thinking that, you know, I'd really like to make some new friendships and social connections. And so I went out and I did that. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the ways I've used and some of the other ways that you can use to make new social connections. Because I think a lot more of us think loneliness and feeling that we don't have a good circle of friends is something that is not really talked about very much. It's a little bit of a taboo subject even. I think it's a little bit of a taboo subject, and I think as well it almost feels a little bit embarrassing to say, well, I haven't really got many friends and I'd like to, you know, widen my social circle. So I think it's something that we don't really talk about. So I thought I would do so. Now I just wanted to touch upon, before we get into all the different ways to make friends, I want to touch upon a couple of things. Sorry, I've got notes down here so I'm not drifting off topic, so that's why I keep looking down. I've got my iPad poised down here. And there's this saying that I I think really rings true for me. It's people come into your life for a reason, a season and a lifetime. And I think we all have, or most of us have had those lifelong friends who have been with us sometimes since school or since college or the early days of work, and we have kept in touch through thick and thin. And that is a lovely type of friendship to have. And if you still live close together and you still see each other regularly with these long-term friends, then you are so lucky to have that. But I think those lifelong friendships are probably fewer and further between than we'd like to think they are. And then we have the people that come into your life for a season, and that is sort of a little bit like the school mum friends that I was talking about just now. We had that connection via our children, and then perhaps as the children grow up, move away, you don't quite have so much in common, or that connection anymore is gone, and so it drifts. And then you have the bit that says people come into your life for a reason. And do you know what? I couldn't think of any good examples for that. So if you can think of any, let me know in the comments. It's not something I can think about having personal experience of, that one, but perhaps I have, and it's just not coming to me at this particular moment. Now, the final point I wanted to make before we get on to all the different ways that I've found to meet new friends is to mention my mum, actually, an honourable mention to my mum, because my mum is 80. I'm going to have to think about this because I don't want to insult her. She's 81 now, and she still has a very active social life. She really works hard at keeping up with her friends, and she has made new friends. She's made, off the top of my head that I can think of, 3 new friends in the last year. Two of them are reconnections from her past, and one of them is a completely new friend, and I just think that's lovely. It really makes me happy to see my mum still making new social connections at that age, and just goes to show that there is no time limit on making new friends. Right, the big question is, how do we make new friends? And I've got to say that as much as I moan about the internet quite a lot, it has been an absolute godsend in terms of making connections. But I'm not talking about just those online connections now. The internet is brilliant for finding ways to make in-person proper friendships. The first suggestion I have is to, if you have hobbies, look for hobby-based local groups. Literally go to Google, type in whatever your hobby is: flower arranging, photography, train spotting, crochet, and then your group, then your local town. So crochet groups, Bournemouth, for example. I don't live in Bournemouth, but you get the point. And there are literally groups for every single hobby. I did this yesterday when I was making some points for this video, and I found all sorts of local groups for all sorts: photography, painting, art, gardening, flower arranging, bridge, all sorts of stuff. And I think the nice thing with that sort of group is that you don't need to search with the people you meet at these groups for a connect. You already have that instant connection because you all have the same hobby, which is lovely. So you have that thing in common, which is really good. Your local library as well is a good place for the notice board to find interest groups. I find my local library always has lots of activities and presentations and talks and things advertised on the notice board in the local library, so that's worth a look as well. If there's not a group for the hobby you want, think about starting something. You may not be the type of person who starts things, but I didn't think I was. And about 12 years ago, I guess, there was a local website that came up. This was before the sort of local groups on Facebook, I think. And was it called Nextdoor, I think? It was sort of a discussion forum for local events and so on. And someone posted on there, several people posted about, was there a local reading group or book group? And said they'd be interested in joining one, and there wasn't one. So I started one. I got together with the people who said they're interested. I said, all come to my house. You don't have to have them round to your house. You can meet at a cafe or something. But to get the ball rolling, we had a meeting at my house and we chose a book. I don't know if it's still going or not, but I stayed in for, there was about 6 or 8 of us, I think, and we had some really good discussions. We had some enjoyable meetings. We would meet at each other's houses, and it went on for, it might still be going on for all I know. I think I carried on going with it for about 3 years, I think, and then I dipped out. I got very, very busy with work and dipped out after about 3 years, but I think they carried it on, and it was something that I was really quite proud of having started, a group of completely different women coming together and enjoying talking about books. And I got to read some books that I probably wouldn't have done. We took it in turns to choose, and yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. So that's something to think about. If you have a hobby that you feel isn't catered for, start a local group to do it. The next idea, which is sort of similar, is enrolling in adult education classes or workshops. There's long-term options like foreign language courses that run for a whole year. There's short-term day workshops doing all sorts, from yoga to meditation to photography to all sorts of different things. As if you again just type in adult education or workshops in your local town, and loads of stuff will come up. You know, perhaps you've got a burning desire to learn French cookery or do some pottery or something like that, and there's always things going on like that, and it's easy to find them again, track them down using the internet. Number 3 is U3A. I don't know if you've heard of U3A. It's University of the Third Age, so it's for older people. I guess mostly retired people, although I don't want to put that, I don't know, but almost all towns have a branch of U3A, and I looked mine up yesterday, and they have such a diverse selection of things, and this is only in my little town, so depending on where you live, I imagine there's all sorts of options, but mine had a selection from table tennis to political discussion groups, don't fancy that, canasta, bridge, wine tasting, history, bookshop, and armchair travel, and you can get involved in that. I think there is a small charge to join U3A, and that's just a small selection of what was available. So again, it's something you can go by yourself, and there'll be like-minded people there. Number 4 is volunteering. If you feel like you need more of a purpose, you don't just want to go and see people and chat, volunteering gives you a great purpose, whether it's working in a charity shop or doing some admin for a charity that needs it, or going and litter picking, or all sorts of stuff. Again, Google is your friend. I found about 140 different volunteering opportunities within 20 miles of me just by Googling for less than 5 minutes yesterday, so that's another option. Number 5, friendship groups on Facebook. This is where I turned when I was looking to make friends originally, and there was a Devon ladies friendship group. Devon is the county I live in, and it's very, very big with all sorts of, it's a big county as well. It's the second biggest county in the UK, I think Devon is. So there are all sorts of groups and meetups going on in different areas. And through that I met 2 or 3 different people who I've had coffee with. I don't think there'll be probably long-term friendships, but it was lovely to get out and meet new people and make connections. Don't forget, of course, not everybody you meet is going to be your type. You're probably not going to be everybody's type, and that's all fine. You know, as they say, you have to kiss a lot of frogs to meet a prince. Same in friendship. Not everybody's going to be the type of person you click with immediately. But that was really nice. Then there was a friendship group started on Facebook for the little town I live in. I was sort of involved in that from the very beginning of it. It started last autumn, and I got involved with the lady who was running it. I went and met up with her and another couple of people in person and talked about the sort of things we could do, and through that we've had coffee mornings, we've had evenings out, we've had so they do Sunday brunches, started the quiz team that I go to every 2 weeks. And there's all sorts going on that you can dip in and out of should you so desire. I love my quiz team that I do. There's there's a core group of us now, and we all get on really well. And I've made my lovely new friend Kirsty through that as well. Now, Kirsty is a perfect example of just someone I clicked with immediately. She's absolutely my type. She's a lot younger than me. She's only 40, and we just got on so well. She does my hair now as well. She's a hairdresser, and she comes to the house and does my hair, and I really get on. I really enjoy the time that I spend with Kirsty, and I'd never have met her if it wasn't for making the effort to put myself out there. That's the other thing to say as well, that it does feel scary, and not scary necessarily, but a little bit uncomfortable to put yourself into a situation with new people. And don't forget, it feels uncomfortable for everybody. Everybody has that feeling as well. And we've also done a thing in this friendship group for the local town, that if there's events and people say they are uncomfortable about going by themselves, someone will meet them at the door and go in with them, which I think is a really nice thing to do as well. The next thing you can do is, if you are a person who enjoys religion of any type at all, if you are a churchgoer or somebody who enjoys participating in organised religion, then churches have loads of social groups and social activities. And I know my dad was an avid churchgoer and was also part of the church committee, I think it was called, that did good works. And they were very supportive to him when he went into care, and still kept in touch with my mum and all of that sort of thing. So that there are nice supportive social groups related to or affiliated to whatever your type of religion is. The final one is to make social connections with people you already know. And going back to my mum, who I was talking about earlier, she is a great example of this, because she made friends. She got particularly friendly with a lady who worked at my dad's care home. I think I've mentioned this in a vlog previously, or a video. And they now meet up for coffee regularly, which is lovely, because obviously she doesn't see her anymore because my dad died in February. But yeah, that's really nice. My mum's also made social connections with people that she already knew from before, who she's one was a lady who used to live down the road from us when I was a child. She's recently bumped into her again, and they've started meeting up. And another one is the mother of a friend, an old school friend of my brother's, who again she knew in the past but has recently come back into contact with, and they've started getting together. They have gin and tonic evenings together, which I think is lovely, so nice. So yeah, don't discount people that you already know. You know, perhaps there's someone you used to work with that you were friends with when you were at work, but you haven't seen them for a while. I know that my best friend Faye got very friendly with her Weight Watchers coach. She already knew her, they got on well, and she said, "Do you fancy going out for a drink one night?" And they went out for a drink one night and they became friends. And that's a good way as well. You've got to put yourself out there a little bit. Anyway, I have rambled enough. I hope that was useful in some way or gave you some food for thought. And if you've got any other ideas that I haven't mentioned, or you have a story to tell about making new friends, please do put it in the comments. Always a good resource, the comments section on videos. So do share if you'd like to. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this was interesting, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.